All right, we should be live. Thanks for clicking on this video. If you are an Amazon seller looking to add print on demand to your business and having trouble just finding the time and don't feel like you have the skills needed to add that as an additional income stream, in this video, we're going to show you how you can take your data and research that you already have and be able to find gaps in the market to test print on demand products. My name is Steven. Joining me on this video is my brother Nathaniel. We've started this WingMan University channel to help you guys add additional income streams using print on demand.
What's up, guys? I am here as well. And so to do that, we want to be your true wingman. And so last week we talked about just how to do research and wrapping up this idea, or kind of starting the conversation of like, where do I put things and why am I putting them there, and like what? It was all of the topics we kind of talked about, of just going on Amazon, doing some over the shoulder, talking about our 5-step test that will help you guys identify where we suggest putting things. It's not an exact science, but it will help you boil down all of the possibilities. And then talking about the art side of things, of like really what type of product should we be putting here, rather than just like the actual product itself, but also the artwork. And the power of print on demand is to target the customers that are already there. And so we looked at what is Amazon telling us of what these customers are already purchasing, and how do we provide them with something similar, not exactly the same, so that we can stand out, but yet fit for what customers are actually looking for. So that was kind of last week. If you guys missed that, we highly...
Amazon.
Yes, leveraging Amazon. So if you guys missed that, we highly suggest you go back and check it out. We'll probably be doing more stuff like that in the future, because we got some good response from that. And me and Steven just like to do that, because a lot of information comes out that we can't necessarily like think of on the spot, or like beforehand we're like, oh, we should talk about this. It's usually like we see something like, oh, here's a really good thing that, this lesson we learned several years ago is something we just want to share with you guys. So those are kind of fun for me and Steven to do. But tonight we're going to be switching up a little bit. But yeah, if you guys missed that last week, you should go check that out.
Yeah, we're still talking about leveraging Amazon, but if you guys are interested in print on demand and just adding that as an additional income stream to your business, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we don't go live daily, but we put out videos daily to help you guys go further, faster, by learning from our mistakes, and then just the information, the strategies, the techniques that we're showing you to help you gain just the understanding and knowledge that you need to be able to test POD products in the market and be able to find success. But like Nathaniel said, tonight we are doing a little bit of the same, just coming from a different perspective. I think the last 2 weeks we've just been talking about how to do partnership deals. Then last week we were talking about organic sales. I had a good amount of conversations this week with people just who followed our information and just looking for ways to add POD to their business. And then I get hit with a lot of the same terminology. They say, oh, I'm only selling this brand, or I'm only reselling. I don't know how to use that information or leverage that data to be able to help me sell POD products. This is what we've been traveling a lot last year and a half, just going to different presentations or events, doing presentations, talking about how almost anybody can add POD to their business as long as you understand the customer. I think there's sometimes a disconnect when you're selling or just reselling, that you feel like you're only selling the product. You go in, you scan, the scan says this is a good product to sell. You just sell product. You don't kind of go beyond that thought process. And tonight I'm going to try to just explain from my perspective the way that I think anybody can use this business. So I know some of my friends sell a lot of shoes, a lot of apparel, but they don't feel like they can take that information and use it for their business as adding POD. I know other people that only sell Legos, and they're just like hard trot to say these are only Lego customers. They only sell Legos because that's the only thing that people are buying. I just want to kind of connect the dots. I think something that Nathaniel did in the beginning when he was riding his bike to work and had the understanding that, hey, if I sell these shirts locally to these customers, what are these customers buying? It kind of opened up a better understanding for me, especially going from a lot of the research where I thought product was the sole thing that drove all businesses, then found that it was keywords after a lot of doing just online selling, and then come to find out in the last couple of years that it's really truly about the customers. As long as you're catering to the customers and providing products to those customers, you should be able to sell almost any product as long as you understand them.
feel like you just wrapped the whole show up right there. Let's jump into it. But yeah, these are just, again, lessons learned over the last couple of years. Like, how do we think about this before we even sit down to do research? Just having that right mindset makes such a big change. It's something that we like to open up our paid courses with. So it's a little bit of a look into, what we talk about in our paid courses, if you haven't had the honor of taking any of our classes. But it is such a big deal to think about the customers first. And that's where a lot of our success originated from. It wasn't just, okay, I can do this type of art. I'm personally really good at this. I get a lot of enjoyment out of like doing this one type of art and just throwing it out there and hoping someone also enjoys my artwork. But like I said, the power of print on demand is to find those customers, see exactly what they're purchasing, and create something in that same vein. Finding a way to be unique there, that you'll stand out and customers will enjoy your product over everything else, which takes a lot of just thinking about the type of person who would buy this product, which I think Steven's going to walk us through tonight. But it is just, again, a mindset change. And I think it can feel like you're kind of stalling out if you're just doing things based on like what's already there and you don't understand why people are purchasing. So that's kind of what we're digging into a bit tonight. So I'll let Steven take this over. I took over the last couple of shows and just kind of was like, I like this question. I want to talk an hour about that. And that's kind of what happened for Steven this week. I was like, all right, I'll let you run wild with it. I'm going to try to keep them on the tracks and just add my 2 cents where I can. If I see something I disagree with, I'm going to maybe stop the show and talk about it. But I really do think this is an important part. So if you guys haven't heard us talk about this, if you haven't taken any of our paid courses, I think this information is really going to be valuable for anyone, even if you're have been selling for a while and not just understanding how to like double down effectively. A lot of this starts from thinking about the person who is
the
paying,
customer,
for this product that you have listed, and not just like, oh, this niche is really hot, let me try to do something similar. We got to think about those people who are scrolling on their phones, scrolling on their computers at work, whenever they're buying these shirts. So like, what exactly are they looking for? What do they enjoy, and what would jump out to them that would make them click into it and actually purchase? So
yeah, I think you talked about the mindset change, and I think that's really what I'm trying to get at tonight and show you how to leverage Amazon to help you, because it is a little different, especially if you're just reselling. You think it's all about the product. It's hard to go beyond the product and think about the customer, but you can leverage Amazon to help you gather additional information about the customers by the products that are up there. You can start guessing and then testing the market. I think that's why we love POD, because we can just have ideas, test the market, see if we are right or wrong, and then start honing in on that customer and selling them a lot more products based on the information that we are gathering. So the conversation that really struck this whole thing off was I was talking Wednesday with a friend that only sells Nike shoes. And then they were just talking about the Nike brand is the only thing that's selling their shoes. They can't seem to sell anything else. It's really Nike driving their sales. And I was just like, okay, let's have this conversation. And I wanted to have it a little more openly with you guys and then walk through the same steps that I walk with him. And I think the light bulb kind of went off when I was getting to the end of just going like, the product is shoes that you're selling. You can do POD shoes, but it takes a lot of understanding. There are simpler ways to get into POD that you can start adding it to your business, regardless of the product that you're selling. So if you're only selling Nike shoes, if you're only selling Legos, if you feel like you're only selling groceries, it does take a little bit of ingenuity to kind of think and ask Amazon to help you find out what those customers, who those customers are and what they're actually buying. But it's not the product that's limiting you. It's just the understanding of the customer, I think, is really what's holding most people back from adding POD to their business. So
before you jump into that, I just want to say, like, I can vouch that I've heard Steven have this conversation several times.
Almost any event that we go to, people are telling me, I could never do that because I only do XYZ. It's like you just have a very narrow thinking of the customer. It's not just the sole product. And I do want to get a little bit more into that by showing Amazon, but I'm gonna let you continue on here.
Yeah, well, just that, like, basically every show that we go to, people are like, I really love this, but, you know, I've only been doing this one thing for so long. Like, I don't know if I could switch up and change my mindset and all these things that we talk about. And even our friend Common that we had on a couple of weeks ago, like, that's where he said he was at with the Nike shoes. Like, that's what he was doing. He was making good money doing the Nike shoes, and then just had to look for something to change up his process. And it just, Steven's even recording that process because we like to show you guys, like, Like, this isn't just a struggle that you're going through. Like, lots of people are having the same kind of thoughts. And that's why I said tonight, I think, is going to be those light bulb moments. And that's why I love watching Stephen have this conversation with people, because it's like, you can see that as the wheels start turning, they're like, oh, like this makes a lot of sense. And that
I was one of them. This
forward.
conversation I had with you was like, oh, it was so enlightening to me that I was like, okay, I understand the people that feel like it's the product, it's the keyword that's driving everything, but it is really about the customer. Your story about you riding to work was so weird and odd to me that I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But then as soon as we started testing the market, it was like, oh, okay, I get it. Now I can even use all the information that I have of selling online and leverage Amazon to help me with this process. So if you feel like you're only selling Nike shoes, I guarantee you those people are not only buying Nike shoes. They are buying other products. But let me show my screen and actually go to Amazon and start this conversation like how I started it with him. So we'll go to Amazon. So he was selling Nike shoes, but I just said, okay, if you feel like they're only buying Nike shoes, let's just type in Nike. This is how I start a lot of my research, by just going to Amazon, typing in a single word. I call this either a anchor word, a seed keyword, and just starting to do my research from here. I am looking a lot more at the results as I try to help people with this process, because the single word is a way to look into Amazon's, it's almost like a department store. If you just go to Walmart and go down one aisle that says soup, there's a lot of other products there, but for Amazon, you can just pull up Nike and kind of see what's down that aisle. So you can see there's some gift cards here, there's flip-flops, there are shoes, there are hoodies, there's shirts, there are other products. So, and these products are selling. And I guess what I was trying to show my friend was that you are selling Nike shoes, but that's not the only thing that Nike brand is capable of selling. You haven't been able to find possibly the purchase price to allow you to be profitable on Amazon by selling these other products, but the customer that are buying Nike shoes are more than likely buying other Nike things. And if you feel like Nike customers and they truly are only buying Nike shoes, if you go to Nike shoes, you can also leverage Amazon here and get a better understanding of the customer and say, okay, these customers are buying Nike shoes, but this isn't really how customers are searching. They're using other additional keywords. Those other additional keywords are going to help me identify those customers. If they're going and looking for basketball shoes, they might type in Nike basketball shoes, but they're just not buying shoes by themselves. They're buying basketball shoes and they're into basketball. But we can scroll down and see what the Amazon listing has on there to help us gain additional information for these customers. So you can see cross trainers, you can see, running shoe, comfort, running. A lot of these are running shoes. So it's just a way to use the information that you have to leverage and better understand the customers by going in and doing just basic searches on Amazon to help you gain additional information. So as we see that Nike shoes are selling well, and that a lot of these are selling, the person that's making the listing, whoever it is putting runner or running into the title. That to me indicates that, oh, there's probably people looking for Nike running shoes. This sparked off additional ideas for him at this point. I guess I'll go back to my face real quick and just maybe just have a conversation with you. As we were selling a lot of products, I know I was always looking for different ways to go and create listings or just attack a different segment of the market to avoid a lot of competition. When we had that conversation with Common, that's what he was saying. I am selling this brand of shoe, but I need to avoid a lot of competition. If I start niching down and I'm going after running shoe, then it really limits the amount of products that I might be able to sell, but it also lets me hone in on a certain demographic of customers purchasing running shoes. It avoids a lot of competition that are just selling Nike shoes, and I can go after this one demographic. The question I guess I have for you is, as we're making these products and as you were taking the pictures and call it a lot of wholesalers, we weren't really identifying that additional keyword as running, but going into the market, I don't know if you remember, but going and like making the listings by adding those additional keywords to get us away from a lot of competition, even though it feels counterintuitive that you're going after a smaller segment of the market, you're having a lot more success. Do you remember any other products, or I guess we can go to POD because we have a lot more experience with that, but when we saw the market as such, and it was huge, and then just being able to niche down and get away from a lot of competition, maybe even telling the bike riding story, that might be another way to go about this.
Yeah, I was trying to think of other niches. I think one that we've talked about before is like the car niche that we were in. I mean, that's kind of where you started all of this journey, was selling car parts like originally, and I don't think we ever got too far away from that. Always finding stuff to, like you said, do arbitrage or private label or whatever for the car community, and kind of the same idea there, where we just, selling car shirt on Amazon is going to be extremely hard. But if you niche all the way down and you kind of find a small club and what that club likes to say, or some jokes or funny things that they talk about, and then make a shirt like around that subject that they can identify with, and like it almost feels like they're an insider. Like the second they see that design, they're like, oh, I know what that means, or that sound effect, I know exactly what they're talking about. It like clicks with them, so they want to look more into the shirt, and they want to purchase that shirt because they already feel like an insider. Making someone feel like they're on this massive website, which is Amazon, but there's like this tiny little joke that's like specific for them, I think gives them like, they just found like gold on the beach or something like that. Like, oh, I have to go look at this, or I have to get this and wear this around. Like, it's just so funny. I can't believe someone like thought of me when they made this shirt. That feeling, I think, is really what we're going after. So that's kind of the niching down. Like for the runners that we're talking about, like they were not just putting up random generic running shirt, but if you can make something that makes them like see that and instantly identify, like, oh yeah, that's definitely me, running mom who has her cat on a leash or whatever, like craziness like that, we're getting all the way down there. Is really helpful. So that is what I was doing with the bike story, as Stephen has coined it now. I was riding my bike to and from work in Florida. It was beautiful. I loved it. It wasn't too far of a ride, but I was doing that and just thinking about the other people in my position who were just riding. It was a train track that they converted into a bike path, and just enjoyed this bike path. So I was like, I should make shirts for people who really enjoy this thing, because I've talked to several people, just riding along someone next to someone on the way to work, and they're like, oh man, I love this track, and like I just found out so much information about this trail, just from like writing and talking to random other people about it, like very passionate people about it. So it was like, oh, this is cool, like I enjoy it, other people seem to enjoy it. So what if I made something, again, putting it on this massive website, but it's for such a small community that's riding this, whatever it is, like 32 miles of bike track. So there's a good amount of customers there, but they're probably not represented on Amazon in any type of way. So just thinking a little bit outside the box, I found my customers, so now I'm making them a product. And to our surprise, before I had the chance to even go out, because my original plan was like, I'll make this thing, I'll put it on Amazon, but I'm going to just try and sell it in like local bike shops along the trail. But before I even got that far, it had sold on Amazon just through the organic search. And I was like, wow, like this makes so much sense to think about the customer, who exactly wants to buy this, and why someone would be searching that on Amazon still baffles me. But they were, and it was selling. And I was like, okay, this is really what we need to do, is think about exactly who wants to purchase these shirts before we even put any energy into them, and try to find like the keywords and all that stuff, like who wants to buy this thing and what type of design. That's instantly where my mind goes. It's like, what type of design would they intrigue them to click and look at this more?
I guess that's the duality piece of it. I think from my end, when I was just reselling, my customers that I was selling to were just Nike customers. Like that's the only thing I could think of them buying, more than just thinking of them as like a human being that buy additional products other than just Nike shoes. And truly, if they're Nike only customers, they're probably have all the Nike gear. They're eating all the Nike brand food. They're drinking the Nike energy drinks. They're breathing Nike air. They're probably not buying on Amazon. They're probably buying off Nike's site. So those aren't really your customers anyway. So it's weird that when you sell those products, you assume that that is your customer, that like high end, all in on Nike customer, when it's really someone that's probably a runner that was like, oh, I heard about these Nikes. I want this Nike brand, but I'm a runner. And that Nike brand is the only thing I'm buying. I'm buying additional running equipment. So on Amazon, even if you feel like that hardcore Nike guy is your customer, which if they're buying on Amazon, they're probably not anyway, because they're all in on Nike. They're only going to buy off a Nike store. they're buying on Amazon, that means that they're probably willing to buy other non-Nike apparel. So what are those customers? Who are those customers really? They're probably more likely running customers than they are Nike customers. So separating the brand from the actual person and what they kind of feel like identifies them. Because I guarantee you, as you are going out through life, there's less people that are, I'm a Nike fanboy, and more, I'm a jogger, I'm a runner. That more identifies me than the brands that I'm wearing, especially nowadays where brands aren't really, people aren't going all in on brands anymore. They're not head to toes any kind of certain brand. They're really jogging customers. And I guess that's what I'm trying to point out with Nathaniel's story, with me helping my friend, going to Amazon, typing in these different things. You're trying to identify the customers, not necessarily the brand. You're trying to separate out those two pieces. I know for me, it was very difficult, especially in the beginning, especially when Nathaniel told me that story. I was like, I don't know what you talking about. That sounds, I can't believe you put on a St. Pete riding trail shirt and somebody bought it and it's selling at a good clip where there's nothing there to let me know that those customers even exist. I guess it's just going beyond the product to the customer is what I'm really trying to help you guys with. But using Amazon to leverage that information. So just from typing in Nike, you see that they're buying more than just shoes. Typing in Nike shoes lets me know that they're probably buying running shoes because that's the first 8 out of 10 products that were there are running. So that's my identifying word that I'm going to start pivoting from Nike or shoes into running. So the same thing I did with him, and I'll go back to my
Sorry
screen.
if I jumped ahead of you. I know
No
where
problem.
this is going.
Yeah, this is,
but
I'm trying to find where that like unlocking piece is.
Right.
And I think by just having you tell that story, regardless of like where I'm going or the direction that I'm moving in, I think it's just a conversation for us to have is this is how Nathaniel saw it, and this is how I saw it. This is how most people see it. And we're just trying to change your perspective a little bit to help you add additional parts to your business. Because even if you're only selling Nike shoes and you're going to the Nike store, you might be able to pick up some Nike socks and make a bundle. You might be able to just think a little differently to think about your customer and provide them what they're really looking for. I didn't mean to cut you off for you.
No, I want you to get back into it. One, to keep things moving forward, but two, because I have an interesting art note that I want to make when we get to when you get to wrap this up. I want to add my 2 cents there at the end.
All right, let me share my screen again then. Oh, I hope people understand the process that I took people through. Most people that I go, we do the same thing with Lego. We can do the same thing with any brand. If you just type that brand in and see, oh, there are other products here, or there's other identifying words that these customers might be looking for more than just the brand. So Nike and then shoe, but there were also Nike shirts, there were Nike other products. So it's not just Nike shoes that they're buying, to hopefully just like unlock some additional ways of thinking about your customers. Then we niched down a little bit farther and went to Nike running shoe. So now I'm going to take off shoes, and I'm also going to take off Nike because I believe the customers are truly running customers. They're not just Nike customers. They're not just Nike shoe buying customers. They're really running customers. So if we type in running, this is where you get to pick up a little more about the customer. Actually, let me go back one and ask you from an art perspective. If you look at this page, what from an art perspective are you identifying similarities in these products?
So I don't want to completely take over tonight, but that is what I was picking up on. We've dabbled in the running scene before, and honestly haven't had that much success because I don't know, I didn't do a ton of research. But looking at a lot of these shoes, they're kind of like fit in that like quote unquote stealth category, which is more in my like personal taste and style. But a lot of them are like monotone colors, so they're like different shades of kind of the same thing. There are a few of them that are like bright and jump out at you, like that Zoom that you just passed by, that are like a bunch of like really bold colors. That's some people's taste, but I would say like 90% of them are like pretty stealth, where it's just like black and white or black on black.
Black on black, yeah.
Yeah, and just kind of like, I don't know, they're not trying to jump out at you and say like, hey, I'm a running shoe. They're just trying to do their job, and not stand out crazy amounts. So as we get further, I know again where this is kind of going. So when we get to some of those other products,
leading the witness.
I want to see if that design style follows through, and then make my point there. But I would say that most of these are like pretty stealthy and pretty like subtle design things that they're doing. They all look nice, but they're kind of basic as far as like the color scheme and like eye-grabbing thing. Most of them just look like a black shoe at a glance.
Yeah, I guess this is not something I was able to do with my friend because that's not my side of the business, but pointing out that they're black, they're darker colors, just you're gaining additional customer information by looking at the Amazon results pages. So even if you truly feel like they're Nike customers, they're only buying shoes and they're only buying running shoes, you can see, hey, if I'm going to go buy Nike running shoes, black is probably the color I should go after. These black on black, if you're selling a lot of the products, you should start picking up on that information. But even if you're not, going onto Amazon and doing just basic searches will gain you a lot of customer information. As we talk about assets more, that's one of the parts of the asset is the customer understanding. Once you understand the customer, can gather the keywords that they like to use and the art that they like to use, all of that together is the asset. Then you create the listing. That listing can live on multiple products on multiple platforms. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So we went to running because we identified that that's more than likely the customer, not necessarily a Nike shoe customer. It's more of a running customer. At least that gives us an opening into selling them additional products other than a single product and the brand. We're getting away from the brand keyword and the shoe keyword. So I'm going to scroll down here. There's bright colors, but these are sponsored ads. So I'm just kind of scrolling past these to get to what is actually going to show up here. So you can see these calf compression sleeves. I was going to call them socks, but then there's a book. There's kind of stuff that goes around your waist. There's socks. There's another book. There's insoles. Okay, Running Man. I can dig that. There's accessories for running. These compression socks again. Something else that you can pick on because Nathaniel talked about the stealth is a lot of these are darker colors. There are some reflective pieces, but most of these are darker colors. So it's kind of, they like to be stealth with the actual clothing, but they also like to be seen. So the accessories that they might wear might be those brighter colors. But I'll go up to what I feel is a POD type product. You can do books, but socks. I know socks are super hot. So if I go running and then the product, that keyword that I'm going to use is a POD product. Socks is something that I know we are capable of getting and printing on. So I'm going to put in socks. And this is where I guess a little bit more experience comes in because I can almost guarantee if I type in running socks, they're going to be some of what we already saw. Black, you can see neon right there. It's probably a sponsored ad, but they're going to be mostly darker socks. They're not really going to be anything that has wording on it to identify it or make it stand out or be different, that position of the market that I could possibly get into. So I'm going to show you some additional words to add on to this to help you find those POD type products. But I just want to scroll down here again and let Nathaniel point out some colors, some styles, some additional things that we can pick up on to help us when we're creating these products.
Yeah, as you guys can see, a lot of like the black on black and like stealthy or kind of muted colors. Some of them have some pretty weird designs, but just knowing what we know from the shoes and like kind of the socks, like they want maybe a little bit of color here or there, but for the most part, like just black socks that they know they're going to get dirty and nasty as they're running. Like they can throw them in the wash, like they're good. Something else to note about like the product side of things and how Steven's searching is sometimes like for us, a landing page like this would be extremely hard to compete on because most people who are searching like just running and sock are looking for like a quality of material, not necessarily like something that's going to make them laugh or like kind of the print on demand competition that we're going after, which is like he said, like standing out in the market in some other way. We're not creating like running socks specifically. Like we're not necessarily competing on quality where we're going to go out and see like, okay, we need to make the heel of the sock a little bit thicker because when they're running like that feels better. That's really not where we're at as far as the print on demand things go. So if you're ever like looking for like speed swimming swimsuit where it's no longer like designs that people want on their swimsuits, it's like we want this like super light material that dries quick and I don't know, whatever speed swimming swimsuits would look like. You kind of have to know the difference of like the again, thinking about the customer. Is this customer looking for something that I can provide, which is like adding funny text or an image to their swimsuit that might make them laugh or make them like, you know, have more fun on vacation or whatever? Or is this customer looking looking for like a very high quality product that's going to help them do X, Y, or Z better, faster, stronger, whatever the Nike slogan is. So again, just thinking about like on this landing page, is this somewhere that I can compete? And looking at that sock landing page, no, that's not the world that we're in. That's not what we're trying to do with our print-on-demand products. So the words that Stephen is about to share with you, like, help us get away from some of that competition and back to where we feel like we can compete, where our skill set and our knowledge and what we've been doing for the last 3, 4, 15 years helps us compete and find success and able to make a good listing that is going to target the customers that we're able to provide a product for.
Yeah, I guess the POD customer is maybe a slightly different demographic if you want to think about it like that. The person that's coming in and looking for running socks, like Nathaniel said, they might be looking at higher quality. As you can see just from the Amazon results page, you can gather additional information on the customer. When they type in running socks, this is more than likely what they're looking for. But as we've done a lot of POD research, something that Nathaniel pointed out, humor is something that we can go after, because then we can distance ourselves from that quality higher end, just customers that are looking for that quality. We're just going after a slightly different demographic. They're still running customers. That's still how they identify the niche that they are in, but it's not necessarily the high end performance runner that we're going after. We're going after people that we can compete with. We still want to see if we can sell those products. I'm going to share my screen again, but Nathaniel said funny. I'm going to just type in funny running socks. It auto completes. There's men's and women's, but we're going to go just to socks. This is where we can start competing and testing the market. If you were doing wholesale or private label, in order to compete on that last page where it's running socks, you're going to have to put up a good amount of money to test the market and do a lot of market research to say, okay, is it the extra padded on the heel? Is it that ring around the top of the sock that's a little reflective? Is that what the customers truly want? It's a lot of small changes to those products to really figure out what those customers are looking for. We like to go a step beyond that to possibly this funny, retro, humor. There's other additional keywords that we can use, because this allows us to test the market for, I'm not going to say completely free, but for very low cost. We can test the market and really hone in what the customers want and have a lot more success quicker, faster, without having to spend $500 to $1,000 to $10,000 on buying socks to test the market to see what works and then go back and reorder. This is just a quicker way for us to test the market. Go after athlete. As soon as we know socks or a saying on a socks that's working, we can go and then put it on additional products. So we found funny socks. One bad mother runner. That's a funny saying. That saying can live on more than just socks, but we are going after the running niche. Socks is something that they buy. You can see as we scroll down, there's a lot of just funny text on the shirt. This is actually a beer. This is the skull and crossbones, so it looks like an actual skeleton. There's donuts, there's pineapples. This is where we like to compete, because then we can gather more information on the customers and say, okay, our customers really liking these type of products, and how can we quickly test these products? Now, I showed something very similar to this to my friend, and they said, well, socks, I don't know how to get socks. I don't have that availability to that product. This is where I say, this is why I love POD, because what products do you have available to you? Because then you can just go after those products. You don't have to sell socks. Runners or athletes, I would say, hey, socks is probably a better thing to go after, because there's a lot less competition here than maybe other things. But they had a merch account, so I just typed in shirt, and look, funny running shirts for women, for men, with sayings, women logos. These are additional places to look to get away from a lot of the competition. These are mostly text-based shirts, and I told him this is a market that you can go after. You're selling Nike shoes, but you're also selling to running customers. And then he saw this, saw some of the sayings, and then was like, oh yeah, I'm a runner. I say all kinds of these type of sayings to my friends. I have a plethora of ideas now. This was the point where it just kind of unlocked for him. even though I showed him, hey, you're selling more than just to a customer that only buys Nike shoes, they buy other Nike products. They also like other things than just the Nike brand. So they like running. That's one of the customers that you're selling to, because I know other shoes that he's selling to other customer bases, to other niches. Take that same idea and then use it for different things. It was interesting to me to have that conversation with him and go down that far to the actual shirts, that he connected those dots. Even though he sells some shirts, it was like a disconnect from what he was actually selling in his main business. I was like, just line those up, because those are the customers that you're going after. That's the niche that you're going after. That's where the magic really happened for us. When we took all the data, all the information that we were selling, RA, retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, just reselling a lot, doing a lot of the wholesale, doing a lot of the private label. I took a lot of that information and just applied it to POD products, because then the products open up tremendously to me and I can start testing a lot more, a lot faster to figure out what the market actually likes. That's where our business really took off. So he got excited. He reached out to some of the people that were going shopping from him. One of them is a graphic designer. He's now going to start designing shirts and going out shopping for him. So I was just like, it's an additional thing that you can add to your business without having to do a ton of extra work. You're already sitting in front of your computer doing a ton of research on Nike shoes, on different design styles, all the stuff that you're already pulling from. Use that information in your business now. As you're looking for running shirts, you already know, okay, the darker colors work better. Is there a black on black shirt that Nathaniel sold hundreds of that I still don't understand how they sell, especially on Amazon? When the thumbnail looks black, people still click on it and they still purchase it. It's an off, I don't even know what you call that style, but it to me is black on black. It just looks like a black shirt. I don't understand it at all. They sell like crazy. Is that something that you can bring to this running niche inside shirts and have a lot of success with? This is what I'm trying to just explain to more people. You're already running a business. You're already doing a ton of research. Just do an extra few clicks, research slightly differently, think about the customer, will open up a lot more avenues of income to your business. He now has bundles that he's going to start testing. He now has additional product ideas for print on demand, more than just shirts. And one of his suppliers will be able to get him socks, so he can start testing the market for a lot less than him going out and buying large amounts of Nike shoes, because they're expensive. So he was super excited. But this is what I'm trying to do more of, especially this year. It's just like, if you're running a business and you're already selling online, I think POD is an amazing additional income stream that you can add without a ton of extra work. You just have to go beyond the product a little bit, think about the customer, and find that connection between the information that you have and the products that you are capable of selling.
Yeah, I don't want you guys to get too stuck in the weeds of just like, okay, like this is great, but I don't sell any shoes online. Like I don't care about the Nike customers. I don't care about runners. Like we're just using this as an example. Like I said, Steven's had this conversation with a lot of people in a lot of different niches, and shoes does come up quite a bit. So I think that's why he leaned into that. But if you're selling anything online, you can kind of just do some, like we said, switch your mindset a little bit, do some backtracking of like, okay, why are these frying pans that I'm buying from Walmart and selling online working so well? And it's like, oh, okay, I'm selling to home cooks. Like what else would home cooks identify with? What type of products? Before you jump off of this though, I did want to just,
I was going to go down like the deep frying and frying pans, but
yeah, let's not go that far. But just look at the artwork on this. So as I'm thinking it over, like we looked at the shoes and we know that a lot of the shoes were just like, again, those monotone colors or kind of muted or just like straight black on black. But most of the time when the like word funny is in the tagline, that usually means like brighter and more like in your face colors. Not all the time, but that's something that I have noticed. So I'm not saying that like, oh, this market is dumb because they're not doing what was working for the shoe designs. But that's just something that you can try, and it's something that you can test fairly quickly and easily with print on demand, is just making funny running shirts, but make them a little bit more muted, or like, you know, you have to click to see what in the world does this shirt say, because that's what some people like. So just taking that logic, trying something else is worth doing if this is your niche, if this is the customers that you want to sell to. We can use you know, similar sayings and similar ideas, but maybe trying a different color scheme to fit in with the socks and the shoes that they're wearing. It might work, it might not, but that's the beauty of print on demand, is that you get to test all of that out. But again, this is just an example. So something that I wanted to say is if you are selling to a certain customer, we'll go back to the cooking example. I don't want Stephen to go crazy with cooking research. But if you are selling to, frying pans on Amazon, and you're like, okay, home cooks is really the niche that I'm selling to, the customer that I'm selling to, you usually have a leg up on people just selling print on demand products and putting them out there. So you might do research on like print on demand things that are selling for home cooks and see a bunch of stuff that you don't feel like really identifies with your customer. And that's because you might know more than the market. If you have all of this knowledge from selling actual physical products to them, or if that's something you personally enjoy and you're going to like home cook meetups and all these things and hearing like what they're saying and the type of cooking ware that they use. I don't know, like you're just pulling knowledge from that community to use for your designs. You might actually know more than people just randomly throwing stuff out there and having some success, but you be able to kind of sweep that market for yourself when you have a true knowledge of what these people, and remember that there are people just searching online for designs, want to purchase. And again, that's kind of what I feel like I did with the bike niche. There were other things up there for bike riders, but they didn't really identify or use the type of colors or imagery that I knew people riding this specific trail would really enjoy, because I was one of those people. Like I made a shirt that I would really like because I was selling to people like me who were riding this trail. So I'm saying if you can use that same knowledge and use that for whatever niche you're going after, it might not be represented online. You might not be able to find shirts are in designs that are already there and telling you like, oh, this is a good thing, this is what customers are looking for, but you might be able to innovate and put those ideas out there and have success with it, because the print on demand market is ginormous and people's taste and what they like is wildly different depending on what page you're on and what niche you're in. So just trying something new and unique can be, again, a good use of your time if you can do that quickly and efficiently. So just a little bit of encouragement to anyone out there who is getting inspired. They're hearing the information that we're putting out there, like, oh yeah, I kind of do know this customer base. It doesn't mean now exactly go kind of like we talked about last week and be like, okay, what colors and things are working exactly on this page, but you can pull from some of that knowledge that you know of that customer base and create things that you would enjoy wearing if you are one of those customers, or if you know those customers well, you can kind of pull from that knowledge. That's all I'm trying to get to. I feel like I'm repeating myself here, but it is a point worth saying, and I want to make sure that you guys hear that, because there's so much room to innovate with new ideas inside of print on demand, and there can be some good money made from doing so. So I want to encourage you guys to just think outside the box a little bit, use the knowledge that you already have, but bringing it to print on demand, super powerful.
Yeah, I guess just a quick crash course in keyword research. We changed the actual product keyword. This, I would say, is like an additional keyword. This is the niche keyword. We're in the niching space. And then shirt is the product keyword. If you don't have a merch account, but you have access to KDP, you could just type the books, running books, funny running books. You can say journals. So journals, 2000, log books. You just have to figure out the products that you're selling, the niche that you're going after. That's where it gets easier, because if you're selling any kind of product, there's a customer associated with it. Then just like shoes, if we cut this and just put in shoes, men's shoes, women's shoes, the different sizes of shoes, and then put the product back in, the journals, logbooks, if you only have a KDP account, and this is the types of products that you can sell, and you can really niche down to half marathons. These can be your customers, and you get away from a lot of the competition. And I would say, I don't want to put anybody's art skills on blast, but most people, I would say, are capable of at least making a book like this. Even if you took the feet off, you should be able to at least put text on a cover if you're in that space. And this is actually selling. It's not making a ton of money, but it's something that you can take that same design, that same saying, and put multiple products. If this is going to be your business, we suggest don't just have one platform. Don't just have one product. Find the customers, identify what they like, and then take that asset, put it on multiple products, multiple platforms. That's how you should run your print on demand business. I know this information is a lot. We fully understand that this takes a lot of time to understand. It took us a lot of time to understand just the customer side of it, the product side of it, the POD side of it, understanding all the different platforms, all the different products that have their own little fussy pieces to them. They have to be this size, they have to be lined up like this, they have to be a certain files type. That's all information that I know takes a lot of time. I'm going to say we, even though I'm throwing it at the end of the bus and he's the one doing it, are offering 20 minutes for $20 to answer any questions that you have. If you have a POD business and you're just looking to identify a certain customer base and double down, or you just want to start testing the market, jump on a call with us. If you're running a business and want to add POD to your business, jump on a call with us. We have a lot of experiences. We are not gurus. We just have a lot of experience doing this, and we want to help you guys. And I think something that Nathaniel has said on different calls, I don't know if he's actually like said it publicly, is this is a good way to build a relationship with us. We want to come alongside you like WingMan and build relationships with you guys. That's the thing that has helped our business the most, is just making those business relationships, networking, growing our networking, seeing what other opportunities are available to us, partnering a lot with them. Something that Nathaniel's doing now is he really likes helping nonprofits. He really likes doing those partnership deals. Now he gets to help other people do those deals, and seeing their success in that by just having a few conversations with us is growing that opportunity and that relationship. It's extremely powerful. We are in the business of relationships. We want to grow more relationships. That's why we're doing a lot of this information on YouTube. We want to capture that information, let it live on a lot longer than just a single call that we do on a Zoom call to information to a small group of people. We want to help more people and grow and help you guys. But like WingMan, come alongside you and truly help you. This 20 for 20, I think, was a good idea, and a lot of people found it very helpful. Now we're seeing the true power of it. Is this is a way to really build a relationship with us, and that we can help you guys.
Yeah. I'm enjoying doing them, but also it's not just this 20-minute call that I'm having with most people. Like, I do enjoy just throughout the week helping you with whatever you've got going on. Really enjoying those of you out there who have seen the call that we did like 3 weeks ago, where I was talking about print on demand nonprofit, or print on demand fundraising, excuse me, because some of you guys took action on that, and I'm still helping those people throughout the weeks of like, okay, now they're going after this nonprofit. What are some pain points that we can come up with, or things that they can prepare for when they're going in and talking with them, or what's another way that they can try to expand their network, and all those great things that we talked about. So it really is the start of a relationship, and I want to be your wingman. I really do want to help you guys throughout this process, because I know at the beginning, like, that's what I was craving for. Like, I wish that I had someone who could come alongside me and like tell me all these things that we were going to run into, or things that we should be thinking about, or even possible walls that we could hit. And while it was great doing with Steven, so we can kind of tackle them together, I really think there's a lot of value in just this knowledge that I have rummaging around in my head. And anytime I get to use that knowledge and share the struggle that I've been through, the lessons that I've learned, it feels really rewarding. So I would love to do that with you guys as well. So 2420, the link will be in the description. You just sign up through Calendarly, pick a date that I'm available, and then we'll figure out the payment after the call, because that's the way we have it set up right now. If this becomes more of a staple, which we've been doing it for like 3 weeks, and maybe we should think about making this more of a staple and figuring out exactly how payments and all that stuff works. But we like to just get ideas out there and make sure that they're there for you before we get too much in the weeds with all that stuff. So that's where we're at. But I think that's a good place for us to end this show. Steven, you got anything else you want to wrap up with?
No, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, or this was not clear, definitely reach out to us, put the comments below. This is a concept that I think took us a long time just to chew on, bounce the idea back and forth. But going from just sole product research or just sole keyword research, you're really doing customer research and leveraging Amazon to help you in that, and just identify certain trends or patterns that you can see to help you better understand the customers. The customers are going there, purchasing. Oh, they like black. They like the stealthy color. Oh, they like the saying. These are the types of information that we are trying to gather to help us build assets that we can then use on and off Amazon. But I think that's it.
All right, cool. Thank you guys, and we will see you next week.